Inside the vaulted halls of the Galactic Council, an emergency meeting erupts in panic as Earth's warships, long dismissed as primitive, suddenly enter orbit around Jaris Prime, a core Council world. What unfolds is not a simple show of force, but a symbolic, coordinated act of terrifying psychological warfare. One human line silences the chamber and alters the galactic balance forever. The ceiling of the Grand Convocation shimmered with artificial starlight, calibrated to mimic the calm light of the Triarch system. Below it, 314 species sat in calculated serenity until the stars blinked. Council members. The voice of Archivist Shethal wavered, his gills twitching in distress. Several objects have broken containment along the Jaris perimeter, unidentified. Stealth class signature, nothing in the registry. Councillor Velhan of the Siraktu species, ancient and ossified in diplomacy, narrowed his compound eyes. You're suggesting they've breached our planetary detection grid? Shethal swallowed hard. They didn't breach it. They ignored it. Before further speculation, a burst transmission hologram seized the chamber, intercepted visuals. From Jaris Prime's orbital watch, even with a 10-second delay, the image was clear. 7 dark, angular warships, unmarked, silent, Terran architecture unmistakable, gasps, chittering, growls. One councillor collapsed in his seat, murmuring, "The old word Deathworlders." Only 2 centuries ago, Earth had been classified as a developing system, a backwater experiment barely accepted into trade ranks. But humans had refused planetary integration, refused standardization, refused control. And then, one by one, their colonies went dark, silent. The Terran diplomats pulled out. Research vessels disappeared. And now this. They were never asleep, whispered Councillor Aimtar, her antennae shaking. They were building. The warships held position, 30,000 kilometers above the capital arcologies. No signals, no patterns, just presence. No demands, the Sarathi interrogator hissed. Shethal shook his head. Only this. A second feed activated, low band, unencrypted. A single Terran command ship interior, minimalist, scarred metal. The camera panned slowly until it settled on a lone figure, a human commander, standing before a console. His eyes unreadable, no medals, no flag. He tapped a screen. One by one, planetary satellites winked out. No explosions, just soft pulses of EMP waves. Entire Council surveillance went dark, then silence. No message, no sound, just deliberate removal of vision, and then a voice. Cold, human, delivered across every orbital frequency simultaneously. This isn't an invasion. This is a reckoning across. The chamber, the room, fell into stunned paralysis. Several species began hyperventilating. The Gorth ambassador activated defensive pheromones and immediately triggered a Council security lockdown. The lights dimmed. Planetary defense status. Red back on Jaris Prime. The warships moved not a meter. But inside the command deck of the Terran lead vessel, the Vindicator, a quiet signal was received. "Commander," said Lieutenant Reyes from her station, watching encrypted response waves ripple across known Council networks. "They're scrambling." As predicted, Commander Irons folded his arms, unmoving. They underestimated silence. Let them feel the shape of what they birthed. She hesitated. And the final protocol? He pressed a single button. A Council satellite, one repurposed with human code, activated. It projected a simple image over Jaris Prime's skies, a human hand, open palm up, an offer or a warning. The camera feed cut. In the Council chamber, Councillor Velhan, who once advocated Earth's disarmament, whispered, "By the suns. They're not here for conquest, they're here to judge." And in that chilling moment, the Council realized the Deathworlders hadn't come for war. They had come to decide. Jaris Prime defense grid. Command Center Level 7, 300 meters underground, deep beneath the obsidian plates of the capital arcologies. Technician Viral's 12 fingers danced across the control panels. Redirect. Power to orbital interceptors, barked General Kaus of the Ornathi Command. His breath reeked of stimulants and his mandibles clicked with fury. Why aren't the defense rings firing? Varel didn't answer. He couldn't. He was too busy watching his screen freeze, then flicker, then flash white, not crash. Yield. The display came back, its normal council interface replaced by a simplified monochrome screen with Terran standard glyphs. Centered on it, a child's drawing, crayon lines, a little blue planet with a ring of stars around it, and stick-figure humans holding hands. Vrel swallowed bile. General, we've been breached, but not from outside. Chaos turned. Explain. Vrel expanded the feed. They're not jamming us. They're not even overriding us. The Terran vessels aren't attacking because they don't need to. They're already inside. They wrote our firewalls. No species ever had access to this architecture. They didn't need access, Varel said, trembling. They built the software over decades, in layers, like ghosts. He zoomed into the code, obsolete fragments, forgotten maintenance ports. Lines of human origin code disguised as system stability subroutines. They didn't hack us, they grew in us. Suddenly, the defense towers outside shut down, every barrel lowering in unison, as if bowing to the unseen warships above. Panic erupted on the command floor. They could have destroyed us an hour ago, said Varel, voice hollow. They didn't. They're showing us they already won. Above, the sky rumbled. In orbit, the Vindicator still hadn't moved, but its tactical AI had just finished a diagnostic. Orbital superiority secured. Civilian harm zero. Psychological dominance rising at 87% saturation. The ship's synthetic voice reported. Commander Irons nodded. Upload phase 2. On the ground, across news feeds, terminals and public comms, a message appeared in dozens of council languages. We are not conquerors. We are your reflection. Look into the mirror you polished and ask why we became this. And underneath, a list of planets, colonies once owned by humans, annexed, repurposed, or destroyed by council enforcement decades earlier. Vrel recognized the names. He saw the time-stamped satellite footage. Burned cities, human children in evacuation shelters, cryopods left to die in vacuum, executions signed off by containment protocols. It hadn't been a war. It had been sanitization, and Earth had stayed silent for 60 years, until now. In the council chamber above, Councillor Imtar threw a data slate across the room. You told us Earth would never respond, she shouted at Velhan. You told us they lacked the infrastructure. They did, Velhan snarled, face pale. They built it in the dark, and somewhere in the void, watching their silent fleet hang like daggers over Jaris Prime, the galaxy's oldest civilizations began to ask a question that cut deeper than any weapon. What kind of species builds for revenge? Not in rage, but in patience. Earth Fleet Command, Deep Bunker Zeta, beneath Antarctic ice. There was no cheering, no toasts, no words of triumph, only data. Rows of screens glowed in cold blue across the room. Digital models of entire planetary systems updated in real time. Commander Irons leaned over the central table, his jaw clenched. Admiral Reyes entered, silent as snowfall. They blinked, Reyes said finally, voice low. Jaris Prime disabled every weapon, publicly, broadcast it themselves. Protocol. He holds, Irons replied. We do not respond, not yet. Behind them, a young strategist named Lieutenant Keegan broke the silence. Sir, the Council will regroup, rewire their systems. They'll adapt. They always do, Reyes said. But we're not here to destroy them. Keegan looked confused. Then what are we doing, sir? Reyes turned, his eyes shadowed. by decades of silence and loss. We're rewriting the story, not for them, for everyone else watching. He tapped the display. One planet, one name, Avarn V, a mining colony that once held 250,000 human settlers, vaporized by a containment algorithm after a false plague alert, officially erased until now. We make them feel what they made us forget. Across the galaxy, that emotion was already spreading. In the lower rim, Liatri Confederation Embassy Ambassador Tsuvar stared at the intercepted footage in horror. The humans had never fired, but their silence had rippled like gravitational waves, pulling weak civilizations into orbit one by one. The Rakthari Confederacy announced immediate neutrality. The insectoid Trask broke off from the Council entirely. No blood spilled, just a demonstration. Fear as a broadcast signal. Tsuvar shivered. How long have they had this fleet? No one answered, because no one knew. Back on Earth Fleet's flagship, TSS Vindicator. Inside a pressurized chamber labeled Doctrine, a meeting occurred that no alien would ever see. 6 humans. No titles, no ranks, just codenames Ash, Echo, Thorn, Iron Veil and Mercy. They represented what remained of the Ghost Doctrine, Earth's hidden retaliation strategy. Not attack, not diplomacy, correction. Phase 1 succeeded, Echo reported. Jaris broke before a single kinetic pulse. We anticipated that, said Thorn. What about Phase 2? Iron's voice was like gravel. We wait. We let the Council think the worst is over. They'll beg for treaties, Mercy added. They'll offer reparations, political reshuffling, apologies. And Iron stood, walked to the center, raised a hand. They don't understand, he said coldly. This isn't about revenge, it's about clarity. He tapped a button. A hologram appeared. An orbital shell of human-built satellites, slowly awakening in multiple sectors. We are not here to make war. We are here to make war obsolete. One by one, ancient council communication relays shut down across the star map. Human technology now owned the dark spaces between stars. In the Jari's prime archives, archivist Luram worked feverishly. His gills were drying in panic as he scanned. Through the Council's internal orders from 62 years ago, redacted files, war crimes rebranded as preemptive socio-cultural regulation. Then he saw it. A name. Operation Ash Garden. He clicked it. A single video. A young human girl, crying. In an escape pod, scratches on the window. In her blood, she had written one word on the glass. Why? Luram collapsed. There would be no answer, only silence. And far above the ruins of political comfort, the Terran warships hung like constellations rewritten. By Wrath, orbit of Jaris Prime, 04 Gos UGT. The silence cracked just once. A thin spear of violet light lanced downward from the Terran battleship TSS Judicator, cutting through planetary shields like a knife through mist. It touched no cities, claimed no lives. Instead, it atomized the Council Tower, the historic first structure built by the Alliance, carved from the bones of extinct star beasts, laced with memory archive crystals from 50 species. In seconds, the tower became a column of glass and steam. The explosion had no sound, but its meaning echoed across the galaxy. Council chambers, temporary relocation on Jaris Moon Delta. I don't understand, stammered Councillor Malthish, his mandibles twitching. They spared every civilian center. Why destroy the tower? Ambassador Tsenro, now visibly shaking, tapped into a Terran psychological database. Symbolic decapitation, not biological, not territorial. Councillor Elvan floated forward, her translucent wings fluttering out of sync. You're saying this was ritualistic? No, said a quiet voice behind them. It was Archivist Luram, his eyes hollow. It was correction. They turned to him. Luram placed a data pad on the table. The tower's foundation stone was laid on the bones of the Shanari massacre, a crime buried by politics. They dug it up. Silence spread. They don't want surrender, Luram whispered. They want truth. Human POV. TSS Judicator Bridge Commander Rhea Knox exhaled slowly as the beam faded from the orbital display. Her hand trembled, not from fear, but from restraint. "That's one," she said softly. "No more, unless provoked." The bridge. Crew remained silent, tension gripping their chests like gravity. "Message from Admiral Reyes," her comm officer said. "Orders remain, precision only. The point is not to break them. The point is to expose them." Rhea turned her chair toward the viewport. Below, the cratered remnants of the council tower still glowed. "They made a monument to a lie," she said. "Now they know lies burn." Transmission, broadcast to all neutral species. A message looped in every known dialect. "This is Earth. Fleet Command, no colonization efforts will follow, no political replacements. This is a message, not a campaign. We are not your enemy, unless you choose to remember us only when we are dead. The war you buried has returned, but only its memory. Let that be enough." Outer Council systems. Reaction. Across minor species, on Pharaoh's moon, a former slave. Species held a silent vigil around hollows of Terran vessels. On Craxa 7th, local leaders burned council flags, not out of allegiance, but fear. On the Velen Ring, a poet broadcast a phrase that became legend. Earth did not invade. They reminded us what truth costs. Inside an unknown council vault, Councillor Elven floated through a hallway lit only by flickering emergency lights. At the vault's center was an ancient protocol box labeled in an archaic code. She opened it. Inside, a dusty plaque, half-rusted. A quote from an extinct Terran diplomat, once mocked for his idealism. "We will build no empire, but we will bury every lie you use to justify one." Elvan finally wept, because she knew the next strike would not be fire, it would be memory. Planet. Avan IV, former war zone, now a quarantined grave world. The wind howled through broken iron trees, relics of war, fused and twisted by plasma storms. Avan was not on any official map now. Its very existence had been redacted from council archives. And yet, here the historians came. Led by Professor Kelizar of the Ranati Archives, the delegation wore environmental suits and soft padded boots, stepping lightly on the ash of 1,000 unspoken dead. What was this place to them? A junior asked, recording drone buzzing overhead. "Not conquest," Kelizar murmured. "Retreat." She brushed away soot from a scorched stone pillar. Etched into the blackened marble was a human inscription, still legible. "We fought until our last, not to win, but to leave no monster behind us." Inside the war bunker, a Van command post echo site. The ruins of a command center revealed intact data modules, strangely undisturbed. Kelizar activated one. A projection flickered to life. Grainy, dated, a human soldier, gaunt, wounded, stared into the lens. His voice rasped. "To any who find this, we're sealing the vector. Planets infected. We hold the line so it doesn't reach the stars. We were promised evacuation. They never came. Doesn't matter now. Tell Earth we were worth remembering." The footage cut. Static remained. And silence. Orbit of Avan. TSS Sentinel. Human recon vessel. Commander Rhea Knox watched the alien dig team from a cloaked orbit. "Should we intervene?" her tactical officer asked. "No," she said, voice brittle. "Let them find it. Let them choke on what they forgot." A junior officer turned. "Permission to speak freely?" "Granted." "I don't understand, Commander. We've already shown our power. Why let old graves speak for us?" Knox didn't look away from the viewport. "Because raw force only. terrifies, but guilt, her eyes narrowed. That stays. The footage from Avan had gone viral across member worlds. News feeds buzzed. Humanity sacrificed itself for the galaxy. Council abandoned a Terran battalion to die sealing a planetary contagion. Anger erupted. "How many other truths have we hidden?" asked Councillor Telvar of the Earth-Act Dominion. "It was classified for security," an old voice offered weakly. "No," Telvar snapped. "It was buried, and now the humans dig up our shame with silence." Councillor Malthish said nothing. His eyes were locked on the still frame of the dying soldier's face. Beneath cherry blossoms, Admiral Reyes stood alone before a glass plaque. It read, "Avan, Task Force 6, lost, not forgotten." Beside him a gardener knelt, clipping stray branches. "You could have wiped their records," the gardener said without looking up. Reyes nodded. "We could have, but we didn't, because lies win short wars." The gardener stood, brushing off hands. "And this one?" Reyes turned to the sky. "This one's for the long future. No demands, no ultimatum, just a short, visual loop. The soldier's face, the line, 'We were worth remembering,' and then silence, again. On Vexari Prime, statues of Council heroes were defaced. On Council stations, protests surged, not for power, but for truth. On neutral planets, humans were no longer seen as conquerors. They were seen as the reminders of what civilization cost to build, and what it would cost to lie about again. Council Central was no longer silent. Emergency sessions ran without rest, each one darker than the last. The footage from Avan had struck something deeper than strategic fear. It birthed shame. It was a stain their protocols couldn't redact. Not this time. "Have the humans responded to our request for a joint inquiry?" Councillor Serivan asked, his voice tight. "They declined," came the reply. "They cited Protocol Edenfall." The room froze. Even the war-born species grew still. "That's not possible," whispered Archivist Eilenva. "Edenfall was a myth, a cold silence measure. No confirmed sightings, no shared treaties, just rumor." "Rumor or not," said Councillor Telvar slowly, "they've activated it, and their fleets are aligning." The feed switched. A visual projection of Sector 9 Kappa blinked open. Earth warships, massive, silent and cloaked in obsidian alloys, had begun to form a spiral grid, not around a planet, around a void. "Why would they lock down an uninhabited region of space?" asked an analyst. No one answered, because the answer terrified them. Aboard the Terran supercarrier Eidolon, Admiral Reyes stood inside a neural command halo. Edenfall had not been activated in 2 centuries. It wasn't a weapon, it was a vow. The AI interface spoke with a calm human voice. "Command override confirmed. Edenfall active. Countdown to sector quarantine. T-minus 72 hours." Below the ship, the black anomaly twisted with gravitational teeth. No light entered it, and none returned. A pocket breach in space-time, once natural, now infected. Reyes turned to her officers. "We let the Council abandon Avan. We let them spin lies. This time, they don't get to ignore it. We'll shut the breach, whether they help or not." Her second in command, Lian Zhou, stepped forward. "And if they interfere?" Reyes didn't blink. "Then we shut them out too." At Council command, chaos turned to paranoia. "They're going to erase a wormhole nexus. That cuts off trade to 8 member systems," cried an ambassador. "They warned us," muttered Malthish. "We just never listened." Then the humans transmitted a final message. Just one line: "You left us to burn. Now we burn the path behind us. No further contact." Across the stars, theories exploded. Was this retaliation, a show of force or something worse? But on Earth there were no parades, no war drums, only silent ships preparing to close the void they'd sealed once before, this time without asking. And somewhere, deep in an old Terran archive, a message flickered to life, a recording by the original Edenfall Protocol author. She spoke calmly, hands folded. This isn't about revenge. It never was. This is about memory, and what happens when you erase it. Outside the galaxy's edge, Terran vessels drifted toward the void, quiet, unafraid, because Earth had long accepted something the Council never understood. You cannot run from the past. You can only decide what burns with it. The delegation ship. Valor and Grace exited slipspace under a veil of white diplomatic lights. It approached the Eidolon, with shields down, hull stripped of weapons, and transmission channels open. "This is Envoy Kael'shi of the Galactic Council." The voice trembled through vacuum. "We request parley under treaty flame light. We do not wish conflict." No immediate response came. The human fleet remained cold, the Eidolon's hull like the corpse of a dying god, massive, silent, unblinking. Kael'shi swallowed. Sweat prickled under his furred brow. Finally, a channel opened. "You may board," came the voice. No name, no rank, just permission. Inside, the Eidolon's hangar bay opened like a throat, empty, echoing. As the diplomatic party stepped through, grav adjusters kicked in, and the walls reformed around them, polymetal shifting like liquid steel. Human soldiers stood in formation, emotionless, no weapons drawn, none needed. Reyes waited on the bridge. "You came to stop us?" she asked without rising. Kael'shi bowed, his limbs twitching from overstimulation. "To plead, not stop. The void breach lies at the edge of 8 systems. If Edenfall proceeds, they will suffer. Billions." "You mean the Council will suffer," Reyes cut in, "because you built your trade empire atop an unstable scar and never told us." He flinched. "We didn't know." "You didn't care," Lianzhou said from behind her, voice like a knife. The alien envoy struggled for breath. "Is this punishment?" Reyes walked toward the viewport, the void anomaly twisted in the distance, devouring light. "No," she said. "This is responsibility. You fear what this breach means for your economies. We fear what it means for our future." Behind her, holograms lit up. Centuries of data, black site experiments, forbidden logs, council files they never thought leaked. Kael'shi's breath caught. "You knew?" he whispered, "about the interdimensional bleed, about the Avon spires, the psychoreactive field?" Reyes nodded. "We knew, and we locked it down, until you reopened it for profit." The envoy fell to his knees. We thought you were barbarians. You left the council, refused unity, but this is science beyond us." "No," said Reyes. "This is what happens when you let a Deathworld species learn restraint." Her eyes darkened. "Don't mistake mercy for ignorance." From the command well, a low vibration began. Across the fleet, thousands of ships activated dark sync drives. Gravity wells formed and wrapped the breach. Kael'shi felt his stomach collapse inward. "You're sealing it from the inside." "Yes, you'll lose ships, lives. We already lost Avan. We're not losing the rest." Kael'shi gripped the rail. "Then let us help." Reyes looked at him, for the first time truly looked, and she gave a nod. "Then remember this moment, the day you stopped fearing us as monsters and started understanding why we survived them." The Eidolon turned, engines igniting with a force that bent space. Behind it, the Council envoy watched the impossible unfold. Humans flying willingly into a hole that could erase them. No last words, no threats. Just a people who chose to enter the dark. So others wouldn't have to. Inside the heart of the breach, Earth's warships face a crushing silence and unseen dangers. As time dilates and memories blur, the crew confronts ancient terrors woven into the fabric of space itself. Hope and despair collide, testing the limits of human endurance and the meaning of sacrifice. The void was not empty. It never had been. As the Eidolon and its escort fleet dove past the gravity wells, a crushing stillness swallowed every sensor, every heartbeat, every whisper of data. Time stretched and folded like a dying star's last pulse. Commander Akira Shen gripped the railing on the observation deck, eyes fixed on the anomaly's twisting maw. "Commander," a voice whispered. "Overcome. Signal distortion is increasing exponentially. This is unlike anything we've catalogued. The fabric of space itself is fraying." Akira swallowed. "Maintain formation. Keep scanners hot." Below decks, the crew moved with eerie precision. Faces pale, eyes darting. The nanotech armor systems adapted in real time, filtering unknown particles and counteracting quantum instability. Scientist Dr. Eva Martinez sat in the research bay, monitoring psych-reactive fields that pulsed unpredictably. "This is not just a breach," she murmured. "It's a wound, a memory in the cosmos that's trying to heal or consume." Her fingers trembled as she uploaded the last data packets. Suddenly, alarms screamed. "Unknown entity detected," the AI intoned. "Signature matches no known biological or synthetic pattern." Akira rushed to the bridge. Outside, shapes flickered. Ghostly, impossible, like the shadows of creatures half remembered in nightmares. "Are they real?" a soldier gasped. Akira's voice was steady, but inside, dread bloomed. "Stay sharp. They're testing us." One figure detached from the mass, a towering form cloaked in fractal darkness. It hovered, then spoke, not with words but a wave of raw emotion. Sorrow, rage, ancient grief. Akira felt a chill in her bones. "Who are you?" she demanded, voice trembling. The entity's presence pierced her mind. "We are the Forgotten. The original watchers of the breach. You disturb our slumber," Eva's voice crackled. "These are remnants of pre-galactic civilizations, their consciousness trapped between dimensions, echoing here for eons." The Eidolon's AI projected a warning. Containment protocols failing, breach widening. Akira made a choice. "We're not here to fight. We're here to heal." The fleet powered down offensive systems and opened communication channels, not for battle, but for dialogue. The Forgotten responded with visions, fragments of lost worlds, civilizations that rose and fell in cosmic tides, lessons etched in the void. Each vision burned into the crew's minds like a funeral pyre. Sacrifice, endurance, the fragile hope that even in darkness, life would persist. But the void was not kind. It demanded a toll. As the fleet stabilized the breach, Akira watched a ship flicker and vanish, consumed by the unseen forces. Grief washed over her. "We carry their memory," she whispered. "And their sacrifice." The Eidolon's captain stood beside her. "Not just theirs," Reyes said softly. "Ours, too." A silence fell. In that silence, the galaxy held its breath. The emotional toll of the breach deepens as the crew confronts the creeping madness inflicted by the void's psychic residue. Amid mounting losses, human resilience shines through unbreakable bonds and unspoken promises. A final gambit to seal the breach demands a sacrifice that will redefine humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The Eidolon's corridors pulsed with low hums of power and whispered fears. Shadows seemed to twitch unnaturally, and time blurred into a continuous aching now. Captain Reyes moved through the ship's heart, her footsteps echoing in empty halls. Each creak, each flicker of light, a reminder of the invisible pressure pressing on minds. "Commander Shen," a voice called from the comlink. "We're losing specialists to neurological collapse. The void's psychic influence is stronger than anticipated." Akira's jaw clenched. "Hold the line, use every countermeasure." But it was more than just technology. Eva Martinez stood before a hollow projector, eyes bloodshot. "The breach is leaking. Memories, emotions. We're not just fighting physics, we're fighting ghosts." "Ghosts," Reyes repeated. "Old souls twisted by time and space." A sudden transmission cut through. The ship's psychologist. Lieutenant Kara Miles reported an outbreak of hallucinations and severe PTSD among the crew. The weight of invisible enemies was crushing morale. In the mess hall, soldiers huddled, sharing stories of dreams filled with lost worlds and pleading. "Voices," Private Lynn whispered. "It's like they want us to join them, to forget." Reyes joined them, voice steady but soft. "We don't forget, we honor." She looked into their eyes. Humanity's last defense was hope. A tactical meeting convened. The plan, a targeted nanotech cascade to stitch the fracture in space-time. "It's experimental," Eva warned. "If it fails, it could worsen the breach." Akira's voice was firm. "We have no choice." As preparations began, Reyes took a moment alone, staring at the stars beyond the viewport. "Why are they like this?" she whispered. "Why do we endure?" A flash of memory, her mother's final words before Earth's descent into chaos. "We survive because we must. Because someone has to stand when all else falls." The nanotech swarm launched. It spread like silver fire through the breach, weaving strands of quantum stabilizers into the torn fabric. But the void fought back. A ripple of distortion surged, swallowing a nearby destroyer hole. Grief surged through the fleet. "We're running out of time," Akira said. Reyes made her decision. "I'll lead the final deployment." The crew bowed their heads, not in submission, but in solidarity. The Eidolon advanced, piercing deeper into the breach. A final countdown began. Silence fell over the bridge. Reyes whispered, "For Earth, for the galaxy." And then the breach shuddered, light flared, and humanity held its breath. The breach's unstable core erupts in a dazzling yet terrifying display of raw energy. Humanity's final gambit teeters on the edge of annihilation. In the chaos, hidden truths about Earth's secret war technology emerge, shifting the battle's balance and revealing a future no one could have foreseen. The Eidolon's hull groaned under the tidal forces of the breach's core. Outside, a kaleidoscope of light and shadow twisted in impossible patterns, raw cosmic fury unleashed. Captain Reyes stood resolute on the bridge, fingers clenched tight on the rail. "Stabilizers. Holding at 70%, Akira reported, sweat beading on her brow. "Keep pushing," Reyes commanded. "This ends now." Suddenly the ship shuddered violently. An EMP pulse, unlike any recorded, hammered through systems, dimming lights and silencing engines for precious seconds. "Damage report!" Reyes barked. Eva's voice was steady but urgent. "Unknown energy. Signature detected. The breach is reacting to our tech. Something ancient, something aware." A soft chime sounded from the tactical console. A faint but distinct cloaking signature flickered near the ship's flank. "Enemy contact?" Akira asked, eyes narrowing. "Unknown," Eva said, "but it's using technology similar to our own, cloaked, adaptive, and heavily modified." The Eidolon's AI flagged a data stream buried deep in the encrypted memory banks. Reyes scanned it, jaw tightening. "Nanite warfare protocols from Earth's lost archives," she muttered. "Experimental tech, banned for its destructive potential." The revelation hit like a thunderclap. "We brought more than ships into this fight," Reyes said grimly. "We brought secrets." Across the bridge, hollow interfaces blinked to life, projecting a swarm of nanomachines, adaptive, self-replicating, and deadly. Akira's voice was tense. If deployed, they could patch the breach or consume everything in the vicinity. Reyes weighed the options. "Then it's time to gamble." "Deploy the nanoswarm," she ordered. Outside, tiny motes of light streamed from the Eidolon, weaving through the fracture like living stitches. The breach pulsed violently, resisting. Suddenly, a wave of psychic energy crashed through the ship. Crew members screamed as memories and fears flooded their minds. "Hold steady," Reyes shouted. "Remember who we are." The nanoswarm reacted, transforming the breach's chaotic energy into stable strands. But the cost was steep. Systems overloaded, and the ship lurched violently. Then silence. The breach was sealed, or so it seemed. From the void, a voice echoed through the comm, a human voice, distorted but unmistakable. "This is Commander Reyes of the Earth Fleet," she said. "The galaxy's reckoning has begun. With the breach sealed but the cost immense, humanity's true power is revealed. Ancient Earth tech intertwined with advanced AI and unyielding spirit. As the Galactic Council scrambles to respond, a fragile truce is brokered, hinting at a new era defined by respect, fear, and uncertain alliances. The Eidolon drifted in the void, scarred but victorious. Silence settled over the battered crew like a heavy shroud. The breach's violent energies had ceased, leaving behind a calm that felt unnatural. Captain Reyes stood before her team, eyes scanning the weary faces. "We did it," she said softly. "But the galaxy won't forget." Akira's voice cut through the quiet. "The Council has sent a delegation. They want to negotiate." Reyes nodded, understanding the unspoken threat behind the offer. The Galactic Council's emissaries arrived. In sleek vessels, their designs both elegant and intimidating. Inside the negotiation chamber, alien delegates regarded the humans with a mix of awe and unease. "The Deathworlders have shown their true might," the lead emissary intoned. "Your technology, your resilience is unparalleled." Over stepped forward, voice steady. "Earth's legacy is one of survival and innovation. We bring no conquest, only a warning." The Council's leader leaned forward. "Your actions have shifted the balance. A fragile peace must be forged." Reyes met his gaze. "Then let it be based on truth and respect." The room held its breath. Outside, across the fleet, a low hum began to rise. The activation of Earth's hidden weapon systems. Silent deterrents that spoke of power and sacrifice. As talks continued, the crew grappled with loss and hope. Kara Miles led counseling sessions, helping soldiers confront their trauma. "We carry the ghosts," she said, "but they don't define us." Akira stared at the stars, whispering a promise. "We'll protect Earth and the galaxy." The Council's message was clear. Humanity had changed everything. The galaxy had feared Deathworlders before. Now it feared what Deathworlders had become. The aftermath of the breach reveals humanity's true place in the galaxy. Not conquerors, but survivors who demand respect. As fragile alliances form and old fears fade, Earth's warships stand ready, a symbol of hope and warning. The future is uncertain, but humanity's resolve is absolute. The council chamber was heavy with tension, but beneath it, a new current. Emblowed, one of possibility. Captain Reyes addressed the assembly. "We did not come to dominate, we came to survive. To remind you that the galaxy is vast, but not infinite." The alien delegates exchanged uneasy glances, their centuries of complacency shattered. A young delegate spoke, voice trembling. "We underestimated Earth. Your Deathworlders possess something beyond mere technology." Ava stepped forward, adding, "It is our will, our sacrifice, our unity. That is our greatest weapon." Outside, the Eidolon and its sister ships formed a silent, watchful ring around the breach's remnants, a living testament to humanity's endurance. Back on Earth, messages from the fleet sparked awe and fear. A soldier in a remote outpost whispered, "We survived the impossible. Now the galaxy listens." Reyes stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the horizon. "Whatever comes next," she said, "we will face it together." The Galactic Council voted for an unprecedented alliance, cautious but hopeful. A new chapter dawned, one where humanity was no longer the underestimated frontier, but a pivotal force shaping the cosmos. As stars shimmered beyond the viewport, the final words echoed. Deathworlders no longer feared, Deathworlders revered. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was ready.